In this lecture, you will study in detail reproduction in plants. Plant reproduction is the production of new individuals or offspring in plants, which can be accomplished by sexual or asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction produces offspring by the fusion of gametes, resulting in offspring genetically different from the parent. Asexual reproduction produces new individuals without the fusion of gametes genetically identical to the parent plants and each other, except when mutations occur. Let us study in detail the structure of a flowering plant. A flower typically contains the reproductive organs: the leaves, the stem, the roots. The leaves use right energy, carbon dioxide and water, to make food by photosynthesis. Stem provides support and a transport system for water and minerals to the leaves and flowers. It also transports food from the leaves to the root and flowers. Roots anchor the plant to the ground and absorb water and minerals. Plants develop seeds through a process called pollination. Pollination is the transfer of pollen from stamen, male flower part, to the pistil, which is the female flower part. This must occur before a male sex cell can fuse with a female sex cell. Since both a stamen and a pistil are necessary for seed formation, they are called essential organs. Most flowers contain two other parts, the sepals and petals, which may help attract insect pollinators. A complete flower contains all four parts. If only one of the essential organs is present in a flower, it is called an incomplete flower. There are number of ways through which pollination can happen. First is self-pollination. Self-pollination is when pollen is transferred from anther to the stigma of the same flower or another flower on the same plant. Cross-pollination is when pollen is transferred from a flower on one plant to the flowers on a different plant of the same species. There are different ways that this can happen. Next is wind pollination. Wind pollination happens as wind blows pollen from anthers of one plant to the stigmas of others. Plants that are wind pollinated are not usually brightly colored, for example grasses. They do, however, have long filaments with anthers that hang down in the wind. They produce millions of pollen grains. The pollen is very light. Some grains even have small air sacs to help them stay in the air longer. Insect pollination happens when insects like bees carry pollen on their bodies as they move from flower to flower. The insects are attracted to the plants because the plants produce a sugary liquid called nectar, which the insects like. The flowers of plants that are insect pollinated tend to be brightly colored, which makes it easy for the insects to find them. The pollen of these types of plant have large pollen grains and is a good food supply for the insects. Some pollen grains have spikes which stick to the hair of insects. Flowers contain a plant's reproductive organs. Most plants contain both male and female plants. Some plants have only male sex organs while others contain only female sex organs. These organs may even be separate on the same plant, example, hyacinth. Sexual reproduction needs special sex cells called gametes. The advantage of sexual reproduction is that it leads to genetic variation. If a species is varied, it is more likely to be able to adapt to any changes in its surroundings. In a flowering plant, the flower develops on the receptacle. The buds of the flower are protected by sepals. Sepals are small leaves. The petals of many flowers are brightly colored, which attract insects. These petals are often highly scented. Inside the flower, there are pin-like structures called stamens. In a flowering plant, the flower develops on the receptacle. The buds of the flower are protected by sepals. Sepals are small leaves. The petals of many flowers are brightly colored, which attract insects. These petals are often highly scented. Inside the flower, there are pin-like structures called stamens. The flower produces two kinds of gametophytes called male and female. The female gametophyte arises from a cell within the ovule. a small structure within the ovary of the flower. The ovary is a large structure within the flower that contains and protects usually many ovules. Flowering plants are unique in that their ovules are entirely enclosed in the ovary. The ovary itself is part of a larger structure called the carpel, which consists of the stigma, style, and the ovary. Each ovule is attached to the ovary tissue by a stalk called funicle. As the flower develops from the bud, a cell within the ovule called the archospore enlarges to form an embryo sac mother cell. The embryo sac mother cell divides by meiosis to produce 4 megaspores. In this process, the number of chromosomes is reduced from the 2 sets in the embryo sac to 1 set in the megaspores, making the megaspores haploid. 3 of the 4 megaspores degenerate and disappear, while the fourth divides mitotically 3 times to produce 8 haploid cells. These cells together constitute the female gametophyte called the embryo sac. The 8 embryo sac cells differentiate into 2 synergids, 3 antipodal cells, 2 fused endosperm nuclei, and an egg cell. The female gametophyte contains the egg cell, central cell that becomes fertilized and give rise to embryo and endosperm of the seed respectively. The mature embryo sac is situated at the outer opening micropyle of the ovule, ready to receive the sperm cells delivered by the male gametophyte, which is the mature pollen grain. Pollen is produced in the anthers, which are attached at the distal end of filaments. The filament and anther together constitute the stamen, the male sex organ. Flowers usually produce many stamens just inside of the petals. As the flower matures, cells in the anther divide mitotically to produce pollen mother cells. The PMCs divide by meiosis to produce haploid microspores in groups of 4 called tetrads. The microspores are housed within the single layer of cells called the tapetum, which provides nutrition to the developing pollen grains. Each microspore develops a hard opaque outer layer called the exine, which is constructed from a lipoprotein called sporopollenin. The exine has characteristic pores, ridges, or projections that can often be used to identify a species, even in fossil pollen. The microspore divides mitotically once or twice to produce 2 or 3 haploid nuclei inside the mature pollen grain. 2 of the nuclei function as sperm nuclei that can eventually fuse with egg and endosperm nuclei of the embryo sac, producing an embryo and endosperm respectively. For sexual fusion to take place, however, the pollen grain must be transported to the stigma, which is a receptive platform on the top of the style and elongated extension on top of the carpel. Here the moist surface or chemicals cause the pollen grain to germinate. Germination is the growth of a tube from the surface of a pollen grain. The tube is a sheath of pectin, inside of which is a solution of water, solutes, and 2 or 3 nuclei which lack any cell walls. Next phase of reproduction in plants is double fertilization. Fertilization in flowering plants is unique among all known organisms, in that not one but 2 cells are fertilized in a process called double fertilization. One sperm nucleus in the pollen tube fuses with the egg cell in the embryo sac, and other sperm nucleus fuses with the diploid endosperm nucleus. The, the fertilized egg cell is a zygote that develops into the diploid embryo of the sporophyte. The fertilized endosperm nucleus divides into the triploid endosperm, a nutritive tissue that sustains the embryo and the seedling. The seed is a mature, fertilized ovule. The maternally derived diploid cells of the ovule develop into the hard, water-resistant outer covering of the seed called the testa or seed coat. The fruit of a flowering plant is a mature ovary. As seeds mature, the surrounding ovary walls form a protective structure that may aid in dispersion. A fruit is termed simple if it is produced by a single ripened ovary in a single flower. As discussed earlier, offsprings in plants can be accomplished by sexual or asexual reproduction. So now let's have a look at asexual means of reproduction in plants. The ability to produce new individuals asexually is common in plants. Under appropriate experimental conditions, nearly every cell of a flowering plant is capable of regenerating the entire plant. In nature, new plants may be regenerated from leaves, stems, or roots that receive an appropriate stimulus and become separated from the parent plant. In most cases, these new plants arise from the undifferentiated parenchyma cells which develop into buds that produce roots and shoots before or after separating from the parent. Vegetative propagation is an economically important means of replicating valuable agricultural plants through cuttings, layerings, and grafting. Vegetative reproduction is especially common in aquatic vascular plants, for example, surfagrass, eelgrass, from which fragments can break off, disperse in the current, and develop into whole new plant. This was a small discussion on different modes of reproduction in plants. In the next session, you will study the concept of harvesting, cleaning, sorting, grading, and packaging of seeds. Thank you.